Hey everyone. Yes, I was jamming to the music. Okay, I love that song. MetaSoul Music plug. Okay, metasoulmusic.com. Check it out. That is our music platform that we created that was a download to me, not a download, but a directive to create that platform. All spiritual music, but good music, as you can hear. Music that will remind you of your power, all those things, because music does move us. Music does inspire us and does give us the vibe that we need. So we created a whole vibe, many vibes, in fact, because there are such things as vibes on that network. And again, medical music is also free. Okay, so anyone who's watching their dollars and tired of all these subscriptions and things like that, go to MetaSoul Music, get everything you need. All right, so welcome to welcome to the channel Wisdom Circle. Hello, everyone. I'm back from vacation. I am revitalized. I'm ready. I was in El Salvador. It was beautiful, great. If you haven't checked out El Salvador, definitely check it out. It's a place that a lot of people don't think to go to, but it is absolutely beautiful, very safe, and just the people are also just absolutely wonderful. But anyway, I had a great time, and I'm back. So again, I want to thank the Real Ascension Guide, also known as Goddess Iman, also known as Light Guardian Goddess Iman, for filling in for me last week and doing the channel Wisdom Circle. She did an amazing job. I hope you guys all not just heard all the messages that she channeled for you, but embodied them. Okay, because remember, knowledge without action and embodiment, same thing almost, is pointless. So make sure that you are embodying everything. And speaking of that, we are ready for today's talk. Okay, for today's channeling, and I've already connected, and let's roll with it. So what they want to talk about today is action and choices. Okay, your choices, the choices that you make or don't make. We're going to more so talk about the choices that you're not making today. All right, and the choices that you need to make, and a little bit of procrastination and how that hits. So this is gonna hit some of you right directly in the in the gut today. Okay, but this is what you need to hear. So what one of the things they want to talk about is holding off from making decisions. So we talk a lot about how we have to push past fear because fear is going to be there. And whenever you are at the threshold of the throne, which is what I call it, when you are at the threshold of the throne, meaning that you are at the threshold of the precipice of what you're of some type of greatness or the next level of your greatness, the next level on your journey. And it's going to require more of you. We always get afraid. Like that's just completely normal. There's a little bit of fear, and even if you don't want to call it fear, you just want to call it anxiety. Same thing. It's all rooted in fear. Whether it's a strong fear or a subtle fear, it's always there. You have to push past it. And what they want to talk about today is the choices because there's a lot of choices. Many of you watching right now, there are things that you dream of. There are things that you know deep down that you are here to do, that you want to do, whether it is your life purpose or it is just a desire. Okay. Usually those two go hand in hand, believe it or not. Okay. Usually your desires will are telltales of your purpose or at least certain soul contracts that you have on your path. Okay. So if there's something, and there is for all of you, there is something that you want to do in life. There is something that you feel it deep inside that you want to do. There is a next level that you want to get, but you are sitting there stuck in decision paralysis right now. That decision paralysis is harming you. What they want to get across today is choices are important in life. Yes. And I always tell you guys how your choices dictate your future. But in the same token, I always also tell you guys that that you shouldn't take life so seriously. So remember, don't take anything I say and go all the way over here or all the way over here with it. It belongs right in the middle because there is no black and white to any of these things. And you have to be balanced. Okay. You have to be balanced. So, yes, you should be taking life somewhat seriously, but not so seriously that you're stopping yourself and stunting your growth. Okay. Not so seriously that you're afraid to make a decision because that decision may lead you down a path of the unknown. Know that the unknown is scary, yes. But why is it scary? It's because of a lack of self trust. That's the only reason why you're afraid of the unknown. You're afraid that you're going to make this decision, something's going to happen, And that's going to lead you down a whole rabbit hole of something crazy or something negative. Now you're going to have to get out of that. Okay. If you trust yourself, you know that it doesn't matter how many curves there are in the road. It doesn't matter how many boulders there are in the road. We've been through this. It doesn't matter how many things come in your path. You are a creature of adaptation, and that is part of your power. Not only can we adapt physically, we can adapt mentally, we can adapt emotionally, we can adapt in a maneuvering way. Okay. So that's where the self-trust comes from and the faith in yourself. So when you are at a crossroads of trying to make a decision, which many of you are right now, and that some of that decision is just simply to move. Some of that decision might be to whatever it is. I don't know, whatever, it depends on what you have going on, but taking that next step, taking that next step on your journey. Every journey starts with a step. It starts with one step. And when you take that step, every other step after that becomes easier and easier. But if you never take a step because you're afraid of the unknown, guess what will always be true? You won't get there. That's what, okay? Message. Okay? You won't get there. You won't get there. That will be true. But if you move, you might get there. If you move, you will get there. And like I said, even if you don't get exactly where you wanted to be, is that better than just staying right where you are and then wondering, could I have gotten there? Because you are here for a reason. You have desires for a reason. You have dreams for a reason. Let those dreams manifest. Let those dreams manifest. If you don't take that next step, if you are stuck in decision paralysis, you will never see what was on the other side of that decision and what you could have done with that. And so many of you are holding yourself back right now. There's something that you want to do that you're holding yourself back. Well, should I do it this way? Should I do it that way? Should I not do it? Always go from within here. I've always told you guys that you have all the answers inside of you, but sometimes you're not able to access all of those answers right away. It depends on your level of skill in going within and so on and so forth. This is why it's called journey. Okay, we grow and we learn and we get better and better at doing that. But in the meantime, if you are not sure of the answer inside of you, then seek some help or simply move anyway. Move with what you feel is the right decision. Because I will tell you this, even if you are not sure, I'm going to put that in air quotes. Okay. I'm going to put that in air quotes. Why? Because you do always know. And like I said, you have all the answers inside of you. You do always know. Deep down, you know. So when you're like, oh, I don't know if I should do this or that, every time, I will tell you guys this 100%, every time someone comes to me and asks me, so I don't do psychic readings unless you're already an existing client of mine. I'm very psychic. I used to do readings all the time, but I just don't do them anymore unless it's someone who's already a client. So if it's someone who's already a client and we're working on something else and it happens to be okay, well, let's look into that, then I'll do that. But so every time that I look into something, every time I look into something for someone of a decision they're not sure of, they always knew ahead of they always knew every time I say, okay, this is the answer, this is these are what's going to happen, XYZ, but these are the caveats there, and yes, it's going to require more work for you, but blah 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 blah. And then they're like, oh, yeah, I knew that. So then why'd you ask? No, I know why they asked, but my point is, you already know these things. They're there. You're just waiting for someone else's validation. So stop waiting for other people's validation and trust yourself. I understand the need for validation. I understand that it's a human need, and it's an intellectual thing, it's a psychological thing. I get that. But if you are holding yourself back right now from achieving what it is that what you know you need to achieve, you know that you have to take the next step on your path in order to get down that road. You can't get down that road. You can't get down that road without taking the first steps. Okay, you're not going to teleport down the road. You gotta walk down the road or run, or you can even take a little scooter, whatever you need to do, but you have to go down the road. Okay, you have to start taking a step to get down that road. And so what I'm getting right now is that in the decision paralysis, again, they're feeding me a lot of information right now. There's a fear of the unknown. There's a fear of the unknown of what if I make this decision and it's the wrong one? And again, the answer to that is, well, that's why there's a thing called pivoting. That's why there's a thing called pivoting. But when you move down the road, understand that not every path is easy. Not every path is easy. And that's another thing they want to talk about. Just because you know that something is going to be hard work doesn't mean that this is something that you should not do. Okay. In fact, usually it's the opposite. If you know that this is going to be hard work and it's something you want what's on the other end of that. Okay, not if you don't want it, because don't just go through hard work for nothing. If you don't want what's on the other end of that hard work, then don't do it. But if you want that and you know you have to go, you have to do this hard work, some of that hard work is going to be fighting yourself, fighting your shadows, fighting your negativity, fighting your disbelief in yourself. Some of those things are an uphill battle, fighting the algorithms, fighting fighting naysayers and things like that. You don't have to fight them because all you have to do is ignore them. But anyway, you get my point. So we know that there's going to be challenge, right? We're going to be tested. We know that we go down this road, we're going to be tested. But at the other end of that test, we are going to see our greatness. We are going to achieve what we came here to achieve. We are going to achieve our next level of greatness because greatness doesn't end. Okay. When we decide to take that road, we are deciding to challenge ourselves. And what do I always say? The reason for suffering. So remember, I always say that suffering is we can limit our suffering by listening, right? But on the other side of that, we know that suffering is there for a reason. That's why I say limit suffering, not obliterate suffering, because we need suffering in order to grow. That is why it exists in this world. If we have absolutely no suffering, we're on a hamster wheel, we're not going anywhere. And we're probably not even on a hamster wheel, we're just sitting down because we're not going anywhere. So know that sometimes you have to go through, you don't always have to, but sometimes you have to go through some challenges in order to get to the other side. You have to go through that discomfort as the Heal Grow Glow coach. That's a tongue twister. I'm going to say it again. TWN, the Heal Grow Glow coach. Yes. There we go. Plug. Anyway, so yes, so as she said, discomfort breeds change, and that's exactly true. You have to get out of your comfort zone. The longer you stay in your comfort zone, the longer you delay your growth. Okay? Say it again for the people in the back. Message. The longer you delay, the longer you stay in your comfort zone, the longer you delay growth. Now, that doesn't mean don't ever be in a comfort zone. It's okay to be It's okay to be comfortable for a period of time, but then you got to move out. You can, because we have periods of rest, right? We have periods of rest, we have periods of action. Those periods of rest, we can stay in that comfort zone for that period of time. We're good, right? But when we feel the inkling, it's time to move, and your spirit will always tell you that when it's time to move, it's time to move. And you have to move, and you better move. Because if you don't move, then what you know to be true, again, there's those two options, the unknown and the known. It's like the devil you know versus the devil you don't know. Okay? Always go towards the one you don't. There's always going to be amazing things on the other side of that. So you have to sometimes go through things in order to get to the other side. And so I also don't want people to confuse when I say go within, because I'm feeling this, that some of you do this. When I say go within and you say, what does your spirit say? Sometimes you confuse your fear and uh, your ego with with what the spirit says, and that's not what the spirit says. Your sometimes your visceral reaction is to do what's comfortable. Well, what's going to make me feel better is this. Don't ask yourself what's going to make you feel better. Ask yourself what you need to do. Okay? Because what's going to make you feel better is always going to be to stay in the comfort zone. Of course, that's always going to feel better. That's always going to feel better. But moving down this road of the unknown where I have to put myself out there or I have to, take a risk, right? One way to limit suffering is to not take any risk. But guess what? Another what else happens is you stunt your growth. Risks are necessary. You have to take risks in order to grow. And those risks could be in many different things, right? In many different ways. But a risk is stepping into that unknown and allowing yourself the grace and the time to assimilate to that new path, knowing and having trust in yourself that you have the ability to pivot at any moment. Just because you make a decision doesn't mean you have to stick to that decision. And just because you make a decision doesn't mean that you have to succumb to everything on that path. No, not at all. That's why we are creatures of adaptation. I'm going to say it again, adaptation. Adaptation. That's why we are creatures of adaptation, because we have the ability to adapt. And that's exactly what we should be doing. We should be shucking, we should be moving, right? Dipping and diving, moving around, right? Right. Lean in. So you know that you can do that. So what are you afraid of? And I'm saying this directly to you, to each and every one of you that's watching this, and those of you who will be watching this in the future. You have to step, you have to move, you have to take risk. And I need you to do that. You need you to do that. Your future self needs you to do that. And why is this so important? Because you're here for a reason. You are here to experience the human experience. Stop stunting your experience. Stop stunting your growth. What are the three pillars that Mystic Temple teaches? And that was given to us by the cosmic collective consciousness: the your soul growth, your life purpose, and your vessel. Those are the only three things that are actually important to your incarnation. Okay, everything else is supplementary. And so these things on your path, what the supplementary things is, they all feed into those three pillars, is what I mean by everything is supplementary. Not that everything else doesn't matter. Everything else is supplementary where it leads into those three pillars. So your goals, your dreams, it leads into your soul growth. It leads into your life purpose. All of that leads you down that path. So that's the supplementary things that are beneath that hold up those three pillars. So this is why it's important to follow your dreams. This is why it's important to it's spiritually important. Okay, I'm going to break that down to you. It's spiritually important to follow your dreams. It is spiritually important to do what your soul is telling you to do. It is spiritually important to take risks in order to get to the end goal that you want to get to. That is actually spiritually important. So they're giving me a whole lot right now. Message. All right. So when you're making choices, when you are not sure which choice to make on your path, go with not what feels good, but what your spirit is telling you to do and what you know you need to be doing. Because if someone else were to ask you what you should be doing or tell you the same thing you're already feeling, would you say, "Yeah, I already knew that"? Be honest with yourself. Then there's your answer. There's your answer. Okay. And like I said, if you have any problems with getting those answers yourself, then go to someone who is trusted. Who don't First of all, it's important that if you are going to anyone else for advice, and by the way, like I said, I promote you going to yourself first. But if you need that validation, because you have to recognize where you are on your path right now, right? Where you are. If you need that validation in order to move, go to someone that is trusted, but also um, is giving you that information from a spiritual standpoint, not from a mental and intellectual standpoint, because people will give you all kinds of bad advice. Okay. So when it comes from a spiritual standpoint, when it comes from like a psychic standpoint, where they can see, okay, this is what these are the different possibilities I see of happening. Because remember, the future is never set in stone. Okay. So whenever you go to a psychic, for instance, whatever future they see is the most probable future based on the trajectory of the energy right now. Anything can change in the middle of that, and then something else can happen. Okay, so know that the future is absolutely never set in stone. Okay, but it usually happens because that trajectory usually is what ends up happening unless you change it, right? So So that's always something that's definitely good to see. And if you're a psychic yourself, and you whatever method that you use that to help you if you need that. But whatever you need to do. Oh yeah, and by the way, we do have great psychics at the Wisdom Network. So thewisdomnetwork.net. All right, that is a business I created for all of my students. Everyone there is trained by me and vetted by me, and they're actually vetted for their abilities too. So these are trusted, actually real powerful practitioners. But anyway, you can go there and get your psychic reading. If you're psychic yourself, you can do your own thing, whatever you need to do to tap in. Remember that psychic ability, and when you're using, say, a psychic tool, okay, we're going off on a tangent. That's okay because that's what they're giving me right now. So, whatever you're using a psychic tool, make sure you understand that the tool itself is not the power. Okay. Whenever you're using any tool, you are the power. You are the power. The tool is simply there to help you activate that power within you. So, for instance, when you look and I teach this at Mystic University as well. But when you are looking at a card, for instance, and you're a tarot card or oracle deck card or whatever, you're looking at it and you are, seeing whatever's on the card, that is actually activating your own intuition, okay, and your third eye. That is actually activating your intuition. And that's how you're getting the information. That information is leading you to the answer because you can look at the same card in two different readings and get two different answers. So if you want more about that, go to Mystic University. but just so you know, so these are the things. Decision making is important. It's important that you make the right decisions, right? But even if you make quote unquote the wrong decision, you can always pivot. So if you are in decision paralysis right now and you are stopping yourself from moving forward, if you are stopping yourself from moving forward and you are just sitting there saying one day, one day, one day, one day, and not making any actions towards that one day, okay? Talk about it. If you are in that realm right now, then you need to listen. You need to listen to yourself and you need to just make a decision. Make a decision. Make the decision that feels the best, not that feels the most comfortable, but that feels the best spiritually. Once you make that decision, I guarantee you, if you do it from spirit, it will be the right decision. And then start moving down the road. That doesn't mean things aren't going to come in and interrupt you and challenge you. Okay, that's the key word, challenge. Things that are boulders in your road, they're there to challenge you. They're not there to stop you. They are there to challenge you and test you. Are you meeting that test? Are you able to push past that test? Are you able to beat that test? Are you able to conquer that test? That's what it's about. And that's how we find out who we are. That's how we realize our power. That's how we come back to self. Okay? Clock it. Good. I love that. So it's important that when you are in these decision making processes, you focus on the future. Just focus on the future. I'm going to give you guys a story, quick story, real story, my story about this, just as an example to what I'm saying here. I'll use the example of when I started my TV network, the Mystic Circle TV. Okay, I received a download. This is how it went. I received a download. This was in, I think, well, we just reached 5 years, so it was in 2021, I guess. I'm sitting down, minding my own business. I channel and I just get stuff. So I just get this download, and it was like a directive. It wasn't a download like information, it was a spiritual directive. It was like, we're not asking, we're telling. We need you to do this. And it said, start a TV network. And I'm like, why? Why am I starting a TV network? Like, what is this all about? Because at the time, at the time I had my own TV show on another network. Um, and I had some other stuff going on. And it was right after COVID had started. And they were just like, start your own TV network. And I was like, why? I'm already on someone else's TV network. I don't need my own. But the directive was so strong that I listened. Okay. And I said, okay, now here's the thing with that decision. That was the precipice of the decision. That was the threshold of the throne right there. I could have said no because I don't know anything about starting a TV network. At the time, I didn't know anything about starting a TV network. I didn't know anything about how to license content, and like there's a whole thing. And trust me, this was a road I went down, and I'm still down, and I'm happy I went down it. But it was not easy. Okay, I will say that it was not easy, but miracles started happening soon as I made the decision, and I made it that day. As soon as I got the thing, I was like, okay, I'm starting a TV network. We're doing this. So I got with my staff. Hey, guess what, guys? We're starting a TV network, and and then we just started, and everything I needed. I always tell you guys, everything you need, so you already have. Everything I needed was just lining up. The knowledge I didn't have, I already had the people in my network that had that knowledge that were willing to give it to me. I already had the people in my network that were willing to give me the connection. I already had everything I needed, and the knowledge that I had from other stuff that I did that I didn't realize was related to that, and other things I witnessed in just being on another TV network, how they ran things. So like all of that was together. So as I moved down that road, but was everything perfect? Absolutely not. We were able to build an entire TV network, reaching 62 million households worldwide just in 3 months. So all of that happened miraculously, right? But did I have a lot of bumps on the road leading up until now? Absolutely. A lot of bumps. Okay. And let me tell you something, I did not know how much money that was going to cost. Okay. That was one of the bumps on the road. But so I was like, whoa. So that's why people don't do this. It was crazy. But did I keep going? Yes. Did I pivot as things started to happen? Yes. Did I keep my faith in myself and in my path? Absolutely. Were there dark days? Absolutely. Were there days I wanted to quit? Absolutely. Okay, but I went down that path, and I'm continuing down that path, and it's been great. It's been great. And by the way, we're about to reach 400. I forgot the number. 400 and something million households in a little bit. We're working on something. So Mystic Circle TV will soon be, by next month, we'll be in 400 something million households. So we're growing, and we're doing it, and it's working. So I went down that path, right? So that's an example of receiving something, right? Feeling it in here, knowing that this is a directive. This isn't just this isn't just a question. And I understand, by the way, I understand now why I had to create that back then, because of where the world is going, and Mystic Temple, and all of those things. I understand that now. But at the time, I was like, I knew that it had something to do with my path and what I was doing, but it didn't fully make sense to me because they didn't give me all the information. But they knew that they gave me enough information for me to move on, and I did. But I didn't have all the answers, is my point. I did not have all the answers. I took a risk. I took a big risk. Okay. And what happened? It worked out. And what happened along the way? Was it a smooth road? No, it wasn't. But I pivoted. I moved. I'm a person that does not give up. And I trust myself to know that. I know that about myself. And I trust myself because I know there is nothing. No, if when I make a decision to do something, there is nothing that's going to stop me. Nothing. And you need to know that about yourself because it's true. It's whether or not you trust yourself to be like that. It's whether or not you trust yourself. But that doesn't mean, by the way, if when I make a decision to do something and I say, okay, there's nothing going to stop me, that doesn't mean I can't change my mind, because I can make a decision to do something and then realize, oh, the journey was what was important, not the end game. I don't need to reach the end game. I'm good. I'm done. I already received what I needed out of this. But sometimes that happens too. That's not the case with this particular thing, but my point is, don't be afraid to stop if you make a decision for something, and knowing that can also help you hopefully have less paralysis when making decisions, because sometimes we're so afraid to make a decision that we don't make any decision because we're afraid, okay, once I do that, I got to stick with it, I got to go down that road. But you don't. Everything is a choice. Everything is a choice. Now, if you are guided to do that, it would behoove you to stay on track and to stay the course. But sometimes it's important that this is said right now. Sometimes we receive an inkling to move down a road for the purpose of moving down the road. not for the purpose of the end game. Sometimes that happens, and you'll know it when that's the case. So when you're moving down that road and you are focused on this end game and you think that that's where you're going, but that wasn't the plan all along. The plan was just for you to simply go down that road because you got so much just from taking that path. It's not about what you're getting at the end. It's not about the prize at the end of the maze. It's not about the cheese at the end of the maze. Sometimes it's about the maze itself. It's the process of going through the maze. It's the process of who you become by the time you get even halfway through that maze. Ooh, getting chills on that. Bam. Message. Yes, getting chills on that. Sometimes that's what it's about. And so when you're in the middle of that maze, if you feel like not out of fear, not out of fear, okay, but you feel like, hey, maybe I really feel like now it's time to go in this direction. I don't care about that cheese anymore. Now I realize that cheese was never important. It's okay to stop. It's okay to do that. You don't have to continue down towards the cheese just because you started towards the cheese. If you got enough out of the process of going through that maze, then that's what it is. Because that's what life is about. Life is a journey. And so but you have to know that internally, right? So as you're moving down your path, you will know that internally. You will find that out, and your spirit will tell you, okay, it's time to pivot. Always follow your spirit. Always follow your spirit. So the point of the message today is, if you are procrastinating, which many of you are on something, okay, whatever it is, you are procrastinating on something. You are trying to be comfortable. You are trying to live too much of a soft life. Okay, I need you. That doesn't mean you have to live a hard life, but I need you to get out of that mode, get on your feet, and do whatever it is that you need to do. That doesn't mean, again, don't take everything I say here or here. Stay right in the middle with me. Okay, all right, that I'm not talking extremes. I'm simply talking about going after your dreams. Yes, stop chasing old dreams. Okay, yes, that was good too. I'm talking about going after your dreams, because remember what they said through me. Your dreams are spiritually necessary. It is spiritually necessary for you to go after your dreams. That is part of your spirituality. That is part of your life path. These are the things that support those three pillars. These are the things that create your path and create your life experience, which is exactly what you're here for. You incarnated into a human form to live a human experience and everything that goes along with that experience, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the pretty. Okay. All of those things that go along with the human experience. You signed up for it. Okay. Don't shoot the messenger. You signed up for it. Okay. So you signed up for this experience. Don't don't put yourself in a cage and not allow yourself to experience the experience. Greatness is on the other end. Greatness. Sometimes that greatness, using the maze analogy, sometimes that greatness is in the middle of the maze. Sometimes that greatness is achieved in the middle of the maze. Sometimes that greatness is achieved when you get to the cheese at the end of the maze. Okay? So whatever it is that you have in here to do, whatever it is that you have in here to achieve, whether that's a state of being, whether that's some type of goal that you have, whether that is intellectual, it doesn't matter what it is. When we talk about your dreams, we're not always talking about career, by the way. We're talking about your dreams of life. What do you want to do with your life, and what do you really want to give to the world? What is it that you want to be experiencing in your human experience? Those are all dreams. Those are all spiritually necessary for you to achieve. So make sure that you are going down that path, achieving those dreams, and stop at nothing. Okay? Stop at nothing except for your internal self. When your internal self tells you to go this way, go that way. When it tells you to go that way, go that way. You don't need to know why. You don't need to know why. You don't need to have all the answers. You can ask the questions, get as many answers as you can. I like to have answers, okay? I'm a Virgo. I like to analyze everything. However, what did I do when I received the thing about starting the TV network? I moved. Did I have all the answers? Nope. But did I have faith and trust in myself and knew that I didn't need all the answers, because I know what I know. I know what I have. I know the power that exists within me, that same power exists within all of you. That same power. And you have to seize it. You have to seize it. So, whatever that is, I want you to make a step today. Whatever you are dreaming of, whatever it is, and I don't care what it is, it could be material, it could be non material, it doesn't matter. Your dreams are necessary. Okay? They all lead you down a path, and they're there for a reason. Whatever that dream is, I want you to figure out what step you can take today. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait till next week. Don't wait till you have this and this in place. Simply move, because when you start moving, everything starts to fall in place. Trust me on that. When it's coming from here, okay? When it's coming from here, everything always moves, just falls into place. So that's the message for today. Okay. Hopefully it got a lot of you right here, and some of you in the gut. Get up and move. Okay. That's what you need to do. All right, everyone. So that's all I have for you today. I will see you guys tomorrow on the channel Wisdom Circle. And if you are new, please follow, subscribe, in whatever channel you're on. We're on YouTube, Substack, and Instagram. So wherever you are, follow, like, subscribe, give us some content, help the algorithms so more people can find us, please, por favor. Okay, everyone have a wonderful day. Sorkumti. See you next time.